I think approaching community, yes, it is looking for a safe place for you, but then also assessing how can you be a safe space for other people. It's not community is not just about you. Like it's about everyone that is in the community, right? Or what you need from it. It's also about how you show up in the space. Can you be a safe person for other people, and can you add value to this space as well? Like, don't just take. Oh, ain't this so cool? Hey, what's up, guys? So we are day 2 on our journey of exploration. We are at this place called
Harami.
What is it?
Harami sushi and
Why
sake.
you whispering?
Harami. God.
We're gonna have some candid conversations today. But in the meantime, we'll pause it right now because Kenny is trying to figure out what she wants to eat, and we'll be back. All right?
Together.
All right. What is this that you got?
This is the hamachi kama, a lightly fried yellowtail collar with spicy golden skin and spicy ponzu with fresh lemon juice. What say you? What say you?
Ooh, that mouth watering.
Exactly.
That's really good.
Exactly.
That's actually really good. Y'all, I'm not even gonna hold you. This sushi was so dang on good. It was a sweet potato roll with cream cheese as well as a lemon zest salmon roll. And I forgot what the other roll is, so y'all forgive me. I would say, yeah, when it comes to the soft girl era, it's one thing to say, like you said, to know what you don't want. It's another thing to begin to experience the things that you do want that invite the softer versions of you. You know what I mean? But it does start with saying no
Correct.
to the things that don't allow you to show up as your vulnerable self.
Yeah.
And I think the root of that is safety. Like,
That's the foundation.
safety is the foundation of your soft girl era. Like, or your soft season. And safety in all aspects, right? Because it's like, what does safety look like in work? Like when you're constantly doing. Because I think you asked me, what does safety look like spiritually, mentally, emotionally? But what does safety look like professionally?
Ooh, child. For me, safety. Two things. Safety looks like boundaries, where I'm not having to work as much, and what I do, there's a good balance of what I do versus who I am. There's enough space for my noun to just be and not be consumed by what I do, right?
Yeah.
And the other part of it is creative freedom to be able to get those nudges and those downloads and be able to fully lean into those things, to be able to do what feels like a calling, to say what feels natural, and to feel like is a download. I don't know where I got this from, but this is just on my spirit, to be spirit led in work and to not have my verb overcast my noun.
Right. And I think this is speaking from a space of like, because I think the first thing I hear people saying is, well, I can't because the type of job that I work, I can't do what I love because I got to pay the bills. What's your response to that?
I think that in some situations there's a lot of, oh my bad. I feel like in certain situations there's a lot of truth to that. You have certain responsibilities. You have children primarily, and you have to make sure that they have clothes on their back, that they have food, that they can play the sports that they want to play, and be in certain groups in school and go to college and whatever the case may be. There is a lot of responsibility, especially like, let's have the conversation around women, because that's what the conversation is around. There are a lot of women who say that, where I can't be spirit led. I can't do what feels creative. I can't do those things because I have this long list of responsibilities. That's very real.
Right.
So it may not be the time yet for you to do that. You may have to put in some years, raise these children, or maybe just set some boundaries around some of the spending that you do, because so that you can prioritize that time or that thing that you're calling a hobby. You can make it a real thing, invest a lot of time and resources into said thing. So sometimes it's not always about the money that you don't have or the time that you don't have. It's about, let me reclaim some of those things so that I can invest it where I want it to go. Because I mean, there's a way, but responsibilities are real as fuck. So
They are
like,
so
let's just
real.
call it what it is.
It's, speaking to that from like the side of a creator, right? Like, I wasn't always full-time music. I wasn't always like traveling to different states or countries doing what I love. Like, when I started, I was straight up like sleeping on couches. I wrote the song, you know what I'm saying, Old Days, where I talk about sleeping on a mattress on the floor, and I had never had a like actual bed. It was just a mattress, right? So it is certain seasons where you gotta grind it out, and you gotta have that vision on the canvas of your imagination, and doing small things to prioritize and work towards that. And so like what that looked like for me was, I don't have kids now, keep in mind, so this is not a framework for everybody, okay? But what that looked like for me was, I was valeting, I was grocery shopping, I was walking dogs, because what I had decided not to do was take a like in-person full-time job.
Yeah.
And I knew that that was going to come at a financial risk for me.
Yeah.
And I was able to take that risk because I had certain, or I didn't have as many obligations. Like, the only person I was responsible for was myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so like in that space though, I still couldn't just jump out and do music full time.
Yeah.
Like, so I had to pick up multiple jobs, you know, and then at a certain point, when I realized like, oh shoot, that's not really working, I did have to get a 9-to-5, but I was able to find one where I was doing it remote. And so those hours look like work, the 9-to-5, but then before that 9 a.m. time, I'm waking up working on what it is I wanted to do. And then after that 5 p.m. time, I'm working on what it is that I want to do. And it was difficult, but like you said, sacrificing and knowing what to sacrifice when, right? Because a mother with kids won't probably be able to do what I just said. You know what I'm saying? And
I feel like, so a couple things. So first, when it comes to risk, when you are in certain circumstances, because for you to say, well, this is what came to my mind. When you're like, yeah, you know, I didn't have kids, or the only person I'm responsible for is myself, like, I was able to take that risk. So that is what, in my mind, said that's a calculated risk, right? So I'm going to take the risk. I risk meaning I don't know what's going to happen once I do this, but I'm considering certain circumstances when I'm saying I'm going to take this risk, right? And I think that that's where a lot of us find ourselves, like, I don't know what's going to happen, so it is a risk, but how can I make a calculated one? So where I'm really not falling on my ass and the house is not burning down with me making this decision. And when it comes to one other thing that you mentioned, you talk about sleeping on bed mattresses on the floor. I have slept on the couch. I understand what that's about. And I think it boils down similarly with people who have children, because that's one of the biggest mountains or boulders when it comes to making certain risks. Support is a very, very, very big thing. So support for me looked like having a friend that said you can stay here while you're trying to get your business off the ground. And for a mom, that support could look like, I'm gonna watch your kid while you make them candles. I'm gonna watch your kid while you go cater at that event. You know, I'm gonna show up for you in this way. So it is about support. People being able to help you while you are trying to invest time and resources into that thing that you are really passionate about.
But I think what it is that you're saying though is community. Like, we are not, and I'm a firm believer of this, I don't believe that we're supposed to do life alone. Like, whatever that whoever wrote that in the Bible about it's not good that man should be alone, I think that that's accurate in many ways, as far as like we are a collective. Like, we're not supposed to do life alone. There is solitude within life. But just like you said I think it was this morning, we was talking about doing the individual work in community, right? So everybody's working on something, everybody's trying to grow, everybody's trying to get somewhere, but we can all support each other by having community to help us get there. You don't have to like try to grind and get it on your own. And I think it's very easy when you're looking at this like singularly, or like when you're by yourself, to say I can't. You know what I mean? And so then the next question is finding community.
It's finding that.
Then how do you find that support? How? Because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but how do I find that? Because it's just me. Or so what's your tips for finding community? Shameless plug. We are building a community. It's called the Selfdom app, and you guys definitely need to download it and check it out. Yeah. So, anyways, go ahead.
I think first and foremost, like, you really got to start researching. I think for a lot of us, depending on the communities that we find, it's based on a need that we have, or like a pull or a tug that we have, and not being so eager to be in a community that you are just anywhere. Like, you have to take the time to vet these spaces and these people to discern if they can help you or not. And then also, when you get in that community, you grow enough to figure out how you can help it. But that's another conversation. It's about vetting these communities and understanding what the support that you need looks like. And you might have to research. There are a lot of programs and nonprofits and initiatives that are built for people like you. And you have to find them in your area. And sometimes they may not be in your area, but they exist. So you have to find your ways to connect to them. If that's via email, if that's moving to a new city, whatever it is that you have to do. If the fire is burning hot enough, if it's important enough to you, there are ways that you can make it happen. And it may take you doing a little bit of research, but there are so many programs that are built for these particular situations and these people that need the help.
Okay, so then to you, like, what in your opinion are the qualities of a good community? Healthy community, thriving community?
Self. The first word that always comes to my mind with a lot of these things is that you can be yourself. It encourages you to be exactly who you are. You can have your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own perspectives, your own choices. You can have your lifestyle. I hate the whole lifestyle thing, but you can be who you are, and you are getting what you need, and you are as much an individual as you are a piece of the community. So that, hands down, number one non-negotiable when it comes to community is I can be myself in all aspects. So if it's not giving me that, if it's stripping that from me, that ain't community, that's cult.
So some people do show up as their full selves, but they don't know how to identify how to properly show up in a room or to assess if that part of you is necessary for the room. Like, some people bring all of themselves, all of their baggage, business, and everything else, and be like, yeah, I'm being myself, and they didn't accept me. And sometimes it's like knowing when or what parts of you to bring into that community and when. So go ahead. I already see you ticking.
Let me tell you something. Don't nothing burn my biscuits. It is people who are not others aware. I had a friend of mine who also is a part of the community that we're building, make the differentiation between self-awareness and other awareness. And I thought that was just so huge, because that is the other side of the coin. It's just those two, right? So when you are not aware of other people, like the people who are like, I'm just being me. I feel like sometimes when you're being told that you're too much, that sometimes it's true. And it's not like correct. You're doing too much. I think that there is some truth to that. And I think we have to sit back and really discern and assess the situation and read the room, as you often say, because everything that we want to say and do is not necessary all the time. And it's about knowing when to say certain things, when to assert your opinion. And a lot of the time, that's when you're being asked.
Right. And it doesn't mean you're minimizing yourself or you're denying yourself or not being true to who you are. You're being honoring of the space that you're in and the people that are holding that same space.
The other people in the room with you, because it is not always your time to speak. It is not always your time to do. We
or
all
be
have
butterfly to just show all your glory.
No, because that can actually be harmful to other people, and I don't think that we understand that all the time. When we are, we talk too much and we do too much, meaning you're talking when maybe you shouldn't be, and you're doing when you should be still. That could be stifling for other people who are waiting for their moment. That I haven't quite figured out how to be bold and how to be honest. And because sometimes when you are it's that critical piece where it's like, this is my time to talk.
Yeah.
Then what if somebody else snatches the mic? That's stifling my voice when there are other people who need to speak that have value to what they have to say.
Yeah, I'll never forget somebody we were in community with, and somebody was just kind of like, this is who I am. I say what's on my mind, and whatever's on my mind comes out. And I think that saying and doing is not who you are, right? Like, a lot of times people try to say, oh, because they behave this way or they did a certain action, they try to claim that identity or whatever. But I say all of that to say, like, I think is one of the most selfish things that you can do is show up in community and not have, I guess, care for other people. And then when you are showing up and you're being held accountable in that community, and then you don't like the feedback because the mirror is being reflected back to you, and so then you walk away and you shut down or you leave. Because when you have to, I think, approaching community, yes, it is looking for a safe place for you, but then also assessing how can you be a safe space for other people. Community is not just about you. Like, it's about everyone that is in the community, right? Or what you need from it. It's also about how you show up in the space. Can you be a safe person for other people? And can you add value to this space as well? Like, don't just take. Like, anyways.
Yeah. No, I absolutely 100% agree with that. It can be, I mean, because let me tell you something. We can talk about this all day because you know how I am. Because I am such a self-centered person, I am very aware of myself and how I'm being received. I'm very open to feedback because one thing about good community, take notes. One way that you can determine if a community is good is that if they give you feedback.
Yeah.
If they're telling you about yourself.
And constructive feedback.
Yes.
Sometimes people have the intention to be honest to harm, right? Like, you're trying to be honest, but you don't have to say it like that. You know what I'm saying? But
for sure.
There's a difference between that and someone who's actually giving you like, hey, have you considered this? Or maybe you should think about this. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, how you showed up or when you did this or that, it made me feel like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Don't just take offense to that and leave.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, go ahead.
They're going to give you feedback and also like constructive criticism, because sometimes like giving feedback is not always about who you are as a person. Sometimes it's about like what you do, and there's a separation between the two. But you have to be open in community, man, because not even like a community group, just in relationships, because that's community too. You have to be very open to feedback because TD Jake said it, and this has stuck with me ever since, that we can see everything in the room but ourselves. So when you are getting those reflections, you need to pay attention, you need to take heed, and you can't take heed to everything you hear because some people ain't got nothing credible to say. Okay, they just hating and talking shit. You can't listen to everybody, but you have to have those trusted voices in your life that give you feedback, and you're just open to it regardless of what they're saying. There is an automatic download to you. I'm going to hear what you have to say. And not that I'm always going to agree or like it, because you're not. You're not. And as you are growing to be self-aware, you're going to hear more times you want to some feedback that ain't the best. But that is a part of growing and being better individually and being a good part of your community.